Good morning from Universal Studios Japan. I want to make a list of some important tips I think would be helpful if this is your first time coming to the park, mainly because the website is kind of out of date with a lot of information that doesn't match up with what you'll see in the park. So we'll go ahead and start off here at the train station. And there it is. You just come right out of the train station, walk along where all the crowds are going to the park. All right, tip number one, if you're getting here by Shinkansen, you'll most likely be stopping in the Osaka Shin station. You'll have to take a few other trains to actually get here to the park itself. Now, keep your Shinkansen ticket. That is good all the way until you get to the park. Also, use the Google destination, put it where you want to go. It will do a fantastic job of telling you what trains you have to go on, even when they depart, and what platform you can find them on. So Google is your friend. Tip number two, before entering the park, if you're trying to save money, be sure to visit one of the convenience stores. This one's really important because as you enter the park, now you've got theme park prices, and I feel like Universal Japan even goes a little higher on some of the items. There are 4 convenience stores here in the City Walk area, 3 Lawson's and 1 7-Eleven. All of them have the normal pricing you would see at any convenience store in Japan. Tip number 3, get here early. 2 important reasons to get here early. 1, the park on most days will open an hour earlier than advertised, which seems pretty wild, but that's the case. And if you're trying to get into the Super Nintendo world, it doesn't help out if you're here late. Also because they only sell a certain amount of tickets per day. Tip number 4, the website may not be up to date. For whatever reason, the Universal Studios Japan website doesn't seem to match with what's going on at the actual park. For example, when I looked, they weren't selling annual passes. The only options were 1-day and 2-day passes. However, you come here and they are selling that, and they even have a 1.5-day pass. Speaking of passes, there are 3 tiers for annual passes, the difference being blackout dates. And then you have your 1-day disability pass, 1.5-day, and 2-day studio pass. Also be sure to take a look at which attractions and shows are closed. Tip 5, getting in the park. To enter the park, the only security check they have is a quick bag check, and then that's it. You sanitize your hands, scan your pass, and you're in. Upon entering, to the right, you can rent strollers, wheelchairs, and tip 6, language barrier. As far as the language barrier goes here, it's actually really easy to get through if you don't know any Japanese. Anything that is written or any instructions will all be in English as well. So that is very helpful. Most of the team members here know enough English to help you with what you need as far as directions go and all that. The only time where I saw any difficulty was trying to register an annual pass. That was difficult if you knew no Japanese, and also the attractions are going to be in Japanese as well. Tip number 7, the Universal app. The Universal Japan app is actually really helpful and easy to use. It's fully in English, great for seeing the wait times, and also doing the interactive Super Nintendo World stuff with your band you can get. Tip number 8, merchandise. Universal Studios Japan has a lot of stores that will sell unique things to the stores, or maybe only a few other stores may have that. So you can't rely on the old, I'll wait and get it at the end of the night in the main studio store, because there's a lot of stuff they don't carry that you can only get in some specific shops here in the park. Tip number 9, ride closing times. Unlike in the States, where the rides close at the park closing, that is not the case here at Universal Japan. Rides will close sometimes up to 45 minutes before the park even closes, which is good to know because popular rides such as Hollywood Dream Backdrop, which has the longest wait time on average, can close up to an hour before the park closes. So be mindful of that. Get your rides in early if you really want to do it. Tip number 10, shop and restaurant closures. This one's more so if you're going to be here multiple days, but some days certain restaurants and shops just won't even open at all. So if you see something in a store that you like, go ahead and pick it up. Tip 11, Harry Potter. The Wizarding World is a little bit different here. The 3 Broomsticks and Hogshead Tavern and the kiosk that sell the snacks and butterbeer outside all close much earlier than the park will. Yesterday, the 3 Broomsticks closed 2 hours before park closing, so make sure you get in there early if you're interested in it. Tip 12, vending machines. In true Japanese fashion, there are plenty of vending machines placed throughout the park, which is really nice because now you don't have to wait in the really long food lines or kiosk lines just to get a drink, because most of the time it'll be the same drinks that they're selling out there. Tip 13, Super Nintendo World. Super Nintendo World currently is doing a timed entry ticket system, so you can't just come into the park and walk back in there, at least at the time of filming this. I do have another video explaining how that goes, so if you're interested, you can check that out as well. Tip 14, single rider. Most rides at Universal Japan offer single rider, which is awesome. Currently closed at the moment, maybe for COVID. However, really good to know if you're just a party of one or you want to split up and potentially have a shorter wait. Tip 15, limited edition items. There it is. Arigatou gozaimasu. Throughout the year, they'll have different limited edition food and merchandise items, such as this Terminator 2 black pepper beef bun. And yes, the guy did have a speaker that played the Terminator theme as he serves it to you, so awesome. Tip 16, Super Nintendo World merchandise. As I stated earlier, certain shops will only sell certain unique merchandise, especially in the new Super Nintendo World. Now, the thing is, once you leave that area for the day, you can't go back in. So make sure you get the specific merchandise for the area while you're in there if you're only going for one day. And to help you know what they sell in there, maybe check out the shops out at the front of the park before you go in. So if you see anything you haven't seen in there, you can pick it up. Tip 17, leaving the park. Something important to note is unless you have an annual pass, the tickets are one-time use. So once you leave the park, they don't let you come back in. I'm sure if you have some exceptional circumstance or some reason, maybe they can figure something out. But their policy is once you leave the park, you can't come back unless you've got an annual pass. Alright, that is going to do it for this tip video here at Universal Studios Japan. These are just some things that I think are important to know. I would have liked to know some of them before I got here myself, but hopefully you found them helpful. And if I didn't cover something you want to know, feel free to let me know. But that is going to do it. Thank you all for watching. The caravan is moving on.